Hello, everybody. Come on in, come on down. This is Dr. Lillie and Coley. This is Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. I just figured I just got to do it, y'all. Just jump on and just do it. Don't ask no questions. Don't ask anything. Just do it. All right, like you making me little all of my eyes in the name of it. Okay, in the name of Jesus. Okay, just trying to make sure it's right. And maybe I put it over here. That's a little bit better, but then it's right there. And everything's, I'm just determined to get this right now. Maybe there, maybe. Okay. Might be a little bit. Just this whole thing is crazy. All right, the first thing I want to do is look and see what's going on in the studio over here. Let's see what happened. Are we over here? We didn't get here yet. Hello, everybody. Hello. It's Dr. Lillian Coley. I'm thankful to be here. I just want to come on and talk a little bit. It looks like it has my last thing, so let's go in here and change that. We'll take this off. We're not going to have it over in the prayer area. Just hold on, everybody. Come on down. Come on in. We're going to just change up the title. And I think I have put a nice, beautiful title on there. It just changed it. Okay. This is what we're doing. Okay. Let me just put what you need to put in there, y'all. This is I just wanted to get you guys updated on what was going on the community updates on the community and legal matter, of course. What else is it going to be, y'all? And then we got Ramir. Okay, let's see that. So I had this other stuff here. Let me see if I can put the right stuff in. Hold on, everybody. Just come on in. We are trying to get you updated on some stuff that was going on with different cases and stuff. And also here it is. And then just to talk, I'm not going to hold you long, but I wanted to come on and do what we do here. We cover this up and get you on your way so that way y'all hear the information from the horse's mouth. Come on down, come on in. That should fix it. And then we'll just start talking about what we need to talk about. You can ask me whatever questions you have, and then we can go there. That would be a good thing. So let me just check and see where everybody is. I don't know what happened there. Dr. Lillie and Coley, I am here to just get you guys updated on a few things. I got some emails on, and we all will be on one accord. So if you have any questions, you can start putting those questions in. I am going to go look at all that in a second, which I'm doing now. And then we'll go from there. So I guess I'll just change that video, fix that later. Okay. Let's see here. Okay. So the first thing I wanted to address was a video we saw regarding the upcoming hearing, which is in the district court. I believe it's I'll just confirm the dates. It should be the 18th of this month, about 10 o'clock in the morning. That is an injunction case that we had submitted last year in 2025 with District Court Judge Edward Keel. Edward Keel has been around, I think he's was 3 years as a district court judge. And we had another district court judge prior to this in the past who seemed to be very fair and very attentive to our case. Judge Keel just recently became a district court judge. And I think he won his nomination by 1 vote. So we did have some concerns with him. So what you're saying out there is true. We had concerns with him. We asked him to recuse himself. He said he didn't need to because the case that we done prior, dealing with the judges with him in jurisdiction, was different than the injunction. The injunction was done because last year in the summer around this time, I was in California suing Mr. Carter regarding the damages he caused for his misrepresentations, his things he was doing, etc. Nonetheless, when I was in California, where he said his jurisdiction was, he came back to New Jersey. And New Jersey allowed him to use a channel with my name on it to get into the court. Because he already said that he wasn't the father, and he said all these other things, so why are you there? His biggest thing was they wanted to try to stop our speech. They didn't say that, but that's what they were trying to do. So they try to hide it behind sealed records. The sealed records, everybody already saw those orders. There were 2 orders about that in the very beginning, in the very beginning, few years. And those orders were, they were geared or focused on or directed to the clerk. And it told the clerk that the courtroom would be closed on proceedings and the court and the records would be closed to the public. That's it. There was nothing else. We never had a gag order because there wouldn't be no need to have a gag order. We never had a hearing. Okay, never no adjudication and no discovery. So what do you need a gag order for? What are you gagging? It's no hearing. There's no jury. So at any rate, that's what happened last year. So that injunction was an emergency when Linda Eon, according to the sources, got some marching orders from maybe the Attorney General who was there last year to make sure we got sanctioned. I don't know. She tried to sanction us, called herself sanction us, and a unsworn, whatever that was, it wasn't a hearing, but it was something, in family court. And then lo and behold, around that same time or the same day, I had also filed bankruptcy. So why I filed bankruptcy was to deal with the adversary of my property, not because I couldn't pay my bills, praise God. So I could pay my bills. And in bankruptcy, you have options. And I chose to go to chapter 13, not chapter 7. I was blocked from doing 13. They didn't want me to do 13 because supposedly the defendant, and probably Mr. Carter, wanted, or in this case, it was his attorneys, wanted to have the trustee, the bankrupt trustee, his name is Andrew Scalar, something to that effect, wanted him to handle my house, I suppose, or my assets, or to be the trustee so they can control it. I think that's what their goal was. But at any rate, nonetheless, let me see if I can fix this. Well, maybe I should leave it alone. Nonetheless, it looks like that light is like shining down. Hold on, everybody, because I like to have things kind of like decency in order. So let me see if I can fix it a little bit. Let me go back to the right window first. Oh yeah, there's a lot of little light on here for some reason. Okay. All right, hold on just 1 second while I fix this, because this is not going to work for me. Hold on. Okay, just want to get this thing fixed, and then I will be able to do what I need to do. All right, I think that's what I want right here. All right, hold on. Just hold on, everybody. Just want to get some of this, what do they call it? Whatever they call it. I don't think I want to get into that right now because it's different names it can be called. But at any rate, so these things has been going on for a minute, and some of them I felt were far-fetched and incorrect. So we already know what happened, because I told you, you can go back and look at some videos if you care to, that the whole thing with this was that there was no jurisdiction in the court to pursue some of the things they did. There was no adjudication. We never, ever had a hearing. Never. There was a pre-motion thing, whatever you want to call it. No search of the truth, no discovery. It was all hearsay and whatever they else want to call it. Nonetheless, we never got to different points. And there were times we were trying to obviously cure the problem of jurisdiction. But because different people kept making false statements about their property, that cannot go where it needed to go. And if the court was not willing to discover or search of the truth, then it remained where it was, which was nowhere. So I'm hoping I'm making no sense. I'm not trying to get deep into this, but I was just trying to come on to answer a few questions I got. So your anti-SLAPP was the second thing with the California. There was never a premise for this case in New Jersey, because when you have no jurisdiction, you have no premise. There's no what they call case. It's just, you got to go somewhere else. And as a result of that, the anti-SLAPP cannot be entered in if there is no premise. And that's a fact. So some people believe that's the reason why Mr. Carter is over in bankruptcy court with me. I went to bankruptcy court, like I just said, for the adversary about my property, because these false orders led to my property. And people put in a fraudulent, in my view, a fraudulent judgment. And in that fraudulent judgment led to my property. And that's why we are in bankruptcy. Because bankruptcy has tools to look at whether or not certain things are fraudulent, and they're under the Attorney General. So this is really going to be a problem, I think. That's, I think, better. It's just weird. It is acting kind of weird today, so I'm not going to force it. All right. So at any rate, that was the thing with that. So the two biggest things is we are having an injunction hearing on August 18th at 10 o'clock. And of course, somebody asked me whether they could come. Of course you could come. It's a public hearing. It's open to everyone. At Recusal, we did ask him to recuse himself in this case. His case, he's the judge where he terminated my appeal in the bankruptcy court. Because in bankruptcy court, I was doing something totally different in terms of my property, outside of what all the fraud and all this stuff led to, the allegations of fraud and misrepresentation and no jurisdiction, all that led to my property. They took money from an escrow, which we believe was fraudulent, because you wasn't due no money, because there was no violation, because nobody violated anything. I never violated any order. Let's make it plain. If it is, where's the evidence? And why didn't you just go through a real adjudication hearing to have proof? And the reason why you didn't, because it don't exist. And this is the same thing that happened just recently in 2025 with Judge Linda Eon. Y'all got to keep watching the dockets. There's some things going to be coming out, not necessarily in certain states, but not in Jersey, I should say. But there's going to be some other stuff coming, because there's people getting tired of judges, especially district court judges. In this case, where she was a state judge, I guess she wants to be a whatever. And she got her marching orders from somebody higher, which made her very comfortable about saying she had jurisdiction for the day. No, you don't. So at the end of the day, she didn't have jurisdiction. She did something maliciously. And these things were done because I was a Black female without an attorney. And I think even if I had an attorney, it would have made a difference. They were doing certain corrupt things back in the day, even when I did have an attorney. So nonetheless, that particular Edward Keel, he is in our case for appeals. He shut down my appeals for the bankruptcy off of what he said, mail came back. And it was false, and it was inconsistent with the truth, which why he opened it back up. But the mere fact that he did it, he was supposed to answer the appeals in July. Things ain't nothing happened. So there are some things going on with people's rights. And we just need to keep our eyes open. I'm not going to say everything here, but there's some stuff coming, y'all. But at the end of the day, the bankruptcy court is doing what it's supposed to do. Several things are out there. Mr. Carter did put in supposedly he said that I lied about something in California. But why aren't you talking in California? So the kind of some of the stuff is ludicrous, it's immature, and it's inappropriate. He's not going to get away with any unlawful things. I promise you that. Some of his attorneys are used to doing loopholes and all these other kind of things, but they don't have the truth on their side. So they got to swerve around run from court to court to try to find. It ain't gonna work, everybody. And he's not gonna be allowed to do it because the right people got their eyes glued to the dockets, right? So at the end of the day, we are at the bankruptcy place, and he did put in some dischargeable, I believe it was some sort of adversary complaint about me. And apparently and this is all on the docket, apparently he did talk to his service person and it got some mix up and all this other stuff happened. And he tried to serve an incomplete, stale summons. I think I remember that story. It was illegal. The whole thing was illegal, right? From beginning to end. And because I'm Black, I guess I can't read. I don't know what to do. I don't, we don't have legal teams, of course we don't, right? So at any rate, those kind of things took place and they are going to be dealt with the law. Either our country is going to follow the law and do what the law says, or we're going to let people buy it out. One of the two. And either way, if you decide to go down a rat hole that ain't right, then guess what? The public don't follow. And it's going to be a problem. And you're not going to do anything. Nobody's going to do nothing with my property. Nobody, right? So they thought because my property has equity in it, I'm going to get some money. I'm going to get some money. I mean, really? It's not even worth that much. So this is the kind of greed and sickness you're going to see, everybody, as you move up in life. But that's all good. That's all good. I suppose it's good. But at the end of the day, we have the anti-SLAPP, which was done in California. That did not have a premise. The case was on a stay and a judge entered it anyway. So that is not going to hold water. And then you have Judge Linda Eon, who did something in the family court in 2025. She tried to enter something that the case was on a stay. And hers is not going to. She didn't even do in a sworn statement. And she said she had jurisdiction for the day. Who ever heard of such nonsense? Nonsense. You don't have it for a day. You either got it or you don't. And if you have something that's administratively that had taken place against the court itself, then you can say it. And whether somebody puts in a judgment, I want you to put it on my property because it gives me another legal step to do. A good one. Just actually put it on the property. You can't. That's why you haven't done it. So at the end of the day, do what you got to do, and I'm going to do what I got to do. So the anti-SLAPP was a crazy thing to do. It was inappropriate. It was unlawful, so forth and so on. And so we're in the bankruptcy court, supposedly to try to fix these things because they have tools and mechanisms. And we have the Department of Justice overlooking it. And thankfully, there's different divisions of it. We have the DC looking at it and others, and we have the Newark office and others. Praise them, everybody. So you need to just keep people looking at what needs to be done on your cases and understand it to be true. There is stuff that had to be filed. I had to file an adversary myself against Mr. Carter and his attorneys. I started with his attorneys. That's on appeal. And that's what he's trying to hold up, it seems like, Mr. Edward Keel, because he has done nothing for us. And he's not going to. Nothing. He's all about everybody else. Everybody. Done nothing. So I'm like, why are you on our case? It feels like there is some sort of conspiracy going on. It feels like there's some bribery going on. It feels something's wrong. Why would a judge be so curious or so anxious to have your case? Why? Are you a gatekeeper for somebody that has been fired or is left, like the former attorney general? Just asking. So at any rate, we are thankful that we live in a good country, that things have to go through the process. If you don't follow the right procedure and do the right thing, your stuff ain't going to happen either. So that's what we did. We followed the right procedure. The court said they didn't have jurisdiction, so this conversation is over. You're not going to get to try to walk over people and tell them they can't talk about something. Show me a gag order first, because if there was a gag order, then I can appeal it. There ain't one. And any other seal order is not a gag order, okay? So at the end of the day, it's foolishness of some of the things that took place. So yeah, at any rate, I'm here to just talk about those things to make it plain to everybody so they can understand and know we had never had adjudication, never had discovery on any of the cases in New Jersey at all. Right? So at the end of the day, it is what it is. So yeah, I'm looking to see what's going on out there. It's kind of quiet. I know I just jumped on. I know. I'm going to get on later, probably today. Somebody is trying to get me to come on with them as well. So I'm trying to do more and all that jazz. Yes, a lot of light over here. Ooh, Lord, that mercy's making me hot. So yeah, any questions or comments, anybody? If you have any questions, let me know. I'm just here to just talk about those three things. We're talking about the upcoming hearing for the injunction that I asked the court to help me with as an emergency back in November. And Judge Kill did nothing but play the game. He strung it out. He strung it on. He kept saying, I didn't have the makeover, and I didn't serve everybody, and I didn't do this, and I didn't do that. And none of that was true. In fact, the Attorney General came back and said, I do have it. Their office had it. They had it. He purposely delayed our stuff. The transcripts that I submitted to show proof that there is no jurisdiction with the court in New Jersey, the family court, they the one wrote the order. They just dispelled it. They tried to destroy the transcript. I mean, it's just been one demonic circumstance after the next. And we asked him, like I said, to recuse himself, but he just got to have our cases. For what? So that needs to be looked into. So at the end of the day, there are some things coming up, and I will keep you abreast the best I can. I can't say it all, but we have to deal with our legal system in a way that it helps us and others. You're not going to just come and do what you want because you've been put in a position to get paid by taxpayers to try to do things against their lives. Are you serious? I mean, it's appalling to me. But at the end of the day, August 18th at 2:00, I'll put the information in there. Y'all already sent it to me. It's true. You can go look at the docket. Somebody else did. It's a text docket. You are able to come. It's about an injunction that we asked for back in November 17, 2025, that the court strung. And now all of a sudden, he wants to talk about the motion to dismiss that the Attorney General submitted in, I think, May or March. They didn't even care. So at the end of the day, I am going to be able to tell my story fully about what has happened to me. And I know that if I had a different color skin color and a different color of eyes, a different everything, I would be treated differently. I am treated this way because I am Black. I'm telling you. And I'm not saying they're racist, but I'm just saying they don't take African-American people, and particularly women, serious. And then when the law's on your side, they go running towards something else. And sometimes it's money. And not even talking about other people, what they have or don't have. I don't care. So at the end of the day, I want my own rights to be invoked, my own rights. And my right in the verdict is already in the right way with God. So we already know what the end's going to be, but you're sitting there trying to protect someone else, and you are a judge. It's just appalling to me. So at any rate, yeah, I just wanted to get on talking to you guys a few minutes here and there. Questions or comments? Anybody has questions or comments? Let me go over here and see what y'all talk. Because I know everybody's quiet. It's lunchtime. This thing is driving me crazy, y'all. Okay, because it's hot. The thing is hot, okay? All right, so I got to work on it. I thought I had fixed this where I didn't have to deal with this no more like this here. That just turn it one way or another, and then it's supposed to be fine. But at any rate, this is what it is. But let me just see what's going on over here. What you guys doing, and whether there's any questions. At the end of the day, this all started out from, as y'all know, way back yonder at the baby daddy thing. But the case turned into a fraudulent thing when misrepresentation came in. And that's when we were seeking to get our damages back. And then, of course, there was no jurisdiction either. But if you have an order that does not say the truth, because somebody said something that wasn't true, you're entitled to damages, which is your attorney fees, which is what I was looking for back then. And then it turned into what it turned into. So now you have attorneys who knew this stuff was not what it is, because they made statements on record that there was no jurisdiction. But yet and still they were trying to put in orders against my property and against other things that led to my property so they could be paid and then bill the insurance companies. That's what they were doing. According to one of the young ladies who worked with one of the attorneys, she came forward and she said her boss was milking, as her terms, or getting money from her insurance company. So that, and the insurance company, why would you need to get something for the insurance company? So that's when we knew that there was something that wasn't right. So at any rate, yeah. Okay, so it doesn't seem like nobody's really out here. That's fine. But at the end of the day, y'all, this could be you. We all got to kind of stick together. Not kind of, we got to. Let me see how this looks if I turn the light off. Woo, because it's hot. That's what I'm saying, y'all. It's hot. Let me just see how it looks. And if it looks like you can't see me, then I might turn it back on. I don't know, because I usually just keep it on, and for some reason it's hot today. Let me just check it out. Yeah, I think we're fine. All right, so I'm gonna leave it off for now because I think that this but yeah, I wanted to make sure I got on to get a chance to talk to you guys. I know I haven't been getting on as much, but I get a lot of questions. And the main question was about what this hearing was about on the 18th. Then they was like, yeah, why did Mr. Carter come to California? Why did he come to the bankruptcy in California? Well, I was suing his attorneys in bankruptcy court. And obviously I was winning because I had the truth on my side. And the truth was about their misrepresentation of the property holdings and other things they did with their client. And they put those orders, those illegal judgments, they put it in a system that a title company used regarding my property. And in bankruptcy court, you are able to go to the court about your inheritance. In this case, my property. They're my rights. And you would have thought I went in there for something else, and they act like it's absurd or unheard of for me to do it. Again, treated different because of the color of your skin. If I was different, and I have attorneys working behind, so they're getting all the attorney packages they need to get. So that ain't the problem. The problem is they're upset that the law's on my side and I don't have an attorney on the front line. On the back line, I do. But either way, if I am in the right, that's the most important. So I think that this remains to be seen. We have to continue, everybody, to look at what is going on with our judicial system when it relates to Black women and Black people. Now, we know we've been going through this kind of stuff for a long time, but now I'm front and center on a case that's been going on for a long time. Why would a case need to be going on this long? Because fraud's involved. And when you have certain types of things that are involved, you can always talk about that. You can bring it up. And whether the court wants to deal with it or not, that's fine. If you're saying you don't want to deal with it, it's fine. But at the end of the day, people can ask for their damages based on the behavior of the other party. And that's what I'm doing. So the person can say they're in California, you go to California, and then when you're in California, then they go back to Jersey. When they said they didn't have any contacts with the Jersey, they didn't have, they had limited appearance in Jersey. The kid ain't yours, and the court ain't doing anything. So why are you here? You're here because you have an invested interest of people who might have done things for you in the past, and you feel like they got to keep paying up. Seriously, because some of the judges in New Jersey, the family court, one of the main judges, the head one, he asked me for money. And I said this before. He wanted me to get my money back for my attorney fees, but he wanted a piece. And I told him no. And he also wanted my godson and goddaughter to never come back into court again. And of course, I couldn't promise him. but he retired once I showed the proof of what he said on record, because he forgot to take it off. He basically was pushed out. But there's also Judge Silverman Katz. She's the judge that we all know about. She does a sua sponte, what they call a sua sponte order, which was an injunction saying that we kept coming to court looking for something. Wasn't true. She just made it up because somebody was paying her. And according to Kenneth L. Winters, me and my godson heard him say, we paid good money for these orders. We paid good money for these orders. We heard it. So at the end of the day, kind of putting everything together, she does a injunction in a civil law matter, L4749-14, saying all this stuff about what you might have seen out there. They can't come back to the court unless they get permission, all this stuff. Nobody even did anything in 2022. There is no record of me filing anything, a complete lie. They filed something, the defendant, and we had to respond, and that was it. But even before that, she had this injunction. Before that happened, she had an injunction of another docket of civil law. She tries to use a civil law docket for a family case that has an FD number. Sorry, you can't do that. So everybody that looked at that, they was like, what is, I said, girl, this was the sickest case I have ever been a part of. Sick people and sick judges, and everything they did backfired. What they planned for us boomeranged. The trap came back on them. Everything they did showed their own corruption. So now we're at this place where you're following procedure? No, you're not. And the California anti-SLAPP 119 ain't procedure either. And the way they got to the 119 was malicious. Apparently, Mr. Carter or his attorneys, or whoever, California girls, whoever they were, came up with a number. Because that was the number we did with our property. Mr. Carter will not be getting any money. And we are going to make sure the law works for us and everybody else. So stay tuned. Be encouraged. Don't back up and don't back down. Keep putting the truth out there. Keep talking about the truth. There ain't no gag orders. There's no restrictions. There's no nothing. The only thing the judge said way back in the very beginning is don't tell the minor until he's ready. And he said that when you want to do documents, until he's a certain age, you redact his name. He's the only name that's going to be redacted. Everybody else. And then he's already waived that. What people are talking about and what somebody's trying to make believe is a lie. It's a lie. It's a false statement. They keep saying it, hoping it's going to be true. It ain't going to never be true. And we will make sure the court has the right information in the records, including Judge Edward Keel, because they didn't want the records. They didn't want Judge McBride's transcript. They took that transcript of mine that I submitted 2 and 3 times. They went between the middle and took out all the important pages. I had to file the same thing 3 times with Judge Edward Keel's people. I did. So he took the things with the envelope, stopped the case. There was documents. Now the case is delayed. He hasn't done anything with the appeals. Just one thing after the next. And we're, of course, the right people, Neil. I'm just talking out loud. But at the end of the day, everybody, you and I need the system to work. It's not working. It's not working for African-American people. We already know some of that. And I know that at the end of the day, whether I have an attorney or not, I got the law on my side. There is going to be no attorney who's going to come in and whippersnap something and turn the lie into the truth. It's not going to happen. And he can try to do all the loopholes he wants. Ain't no loopholes. The truth will prevail. And it will start with the anti-SLAPP, the 119, a judge who was knowing the California District Court judge, and she had 2 years of experience because she came in at the same time with Edward Keel. These were not the district court judges we've had in the past who were seasoned and knew the law. They weren't gatekeepers for someone else, like the former attorney general. They weren't gatekeepers for him, right? So at the end of the day, Sherilyn Garnett, the California judge, 2 years of experience. Edward Kill, 3 years. And then he wants to hold on to our cases. No, you're not, sir. You need to recuse yourself, as we've asked you several times already. And you know why more than I do. I'm not going to say all of it here, but you know. But at the end of the day, we want the law to work. And the law can't work if you keep trying to go around it and bend it and do different people different ways. Like I said, you had the injunction since last year. You had an appeal that was supposed to be answered in July. It was delayed for no reason at all, no legal reason, a make-believe. And now here we are. Here we are. So I just want everybody to know there's going to be no loopholes. There's not going to be no backdoor deals. There ain't going to be anything because the law is going to prevail. The law has already been placed on the table and nothing's going to take it away. The truth is the truth is the truth, and it's going to prevail in this case. And I don't know why God did it this way. I don't know what God is doing totally, but I know God loves justice, and I know God is going to allow the truth to prevail. That's what I do know. That's what I do know. So at the end of the day, that's what it is, everybody. That's what it is. So yeah, if there's no questions, I'm going to go. But yeah, I just wanted to do the live because you guys were asking me these questions. I wrote the questions down. Anti-SLAPP, I answered that. I answered why I went into the bankruptcy court. Like I said, thank you, Jesus, I can pay my bills. But there was some help needed with my property. And because I have to keep doing these other things, that is taking away from my money, legal stuff. So at the end of the day, yeah, I was trying to use the tools in the toolkit that I am entitled to as well. And I was blocked from doing Chapter 13. And I know it because I was Black. It wasn't made for me. It's the resources for other people. That's what I was told. Not directly. They were telling me indirectly that the judge wants to use the resources for other people because he don't have that many. As if it was my fault. That's the situation. But at the end of the day, I paid the money, the filing fee, and the whole nine. And I did not get treated like every other person. That's the fact, everybody. And God is allowing me to go through this so I can tell other people my education, my income, my degrees, none of that meant nothing. Certain systems and certain things are only made for certain people, but yet we're all paying the taxes. It's a problem. Somebody needs to fix it and somebody needs to look at it, and you need to do it now. So at the end of the day, yeah, anti-SLAPP, California, not going to happen. The 119K came out of maliciously trying to mock a situation of me receiving and others money for my property, and they want that too. You're not going to get nothing. And nothing's going to happen to any of my properties, and you're not going to, any backdoor deals, you better be ready to have a fight. Just be ready, because there's other people watching too. And some of you have done stuff to other people. And guess what? It's all connecting, because that's the way life is. Did you really think that you're going to keep getting away with stuff? Did you really think that? You got to wake up. So at the end of the day, certain things were done because of who you are and the color of your skin. Because when the truth is on your side, you're going to sit down and work all day to go around the truth. Why are you working so hard to get around the truth? Why? Is it that bad? It must be something about the person or the situation that you're trying to hide. But you can be in the bankruptcy court and go through the adversary, be in a Chapter 13 and some other things in order to your property rights, people trying to illegally, what you believe, take money from your property, from an escrow of money that they shouldn't have been entitled to, that was derived and rooted in fraud and no jurisdiction. Now, whether the court made a decision about the fraud is another story. Okay, fine. But you still didn't have jurisdiction. You had no premise, you had no nothing. So if you say you have limited appearance, you say that the court has no power of you, well, why are you back in the family court? Why are you there? So something is wrong with you, and you're not going to use the channel that I have for my godson to do anything. So some of the things you've done, you hurt yourself. And all I can say is thank you, because the truth will prevail. My mother always said the truth will prevail, and guess what? She was right. The truth will prevail, and that's what's happening right now. So yeah, at any rate, everybody, I want you to be encouraged. I want you to stay in the knowing, stay in the truth. There's other Black women, as y'all already know, that has ran through some problems too. And some of it, she didn't have all her things. She might not have had all her paperwork because she believed and had friends and people were whatever. As a celebrity person, but nonetheless, she is Black. She's a Black girl. And some of the things she said, she didn't have all her paperwork, or she believed in the person she was dealing with, and she didn't get everything signed. I had everything signed. All the stuff is done. Everything is in order. And they still didn't want to do nothing, because it's a terrifying thing for a system to be this broke, and they don't want a pro se person to be able to win. That's what this is about. You already have the law on your side. You've been abused and legally abused. You've been done all the things. You've been prostituted financially by taking money and going and chasing fraud, because fraud is expensive to chase and to do. And then you come back with false statements and things like that. I mean, if you were always in the know, or this is so good, or this is the right, why is it so many different things that happened? Why was names switched? Why was names whited out? Why would somebody need to do bribery or even attempt to do it? So yeah, we didn't talk and get to that point because the court didn't want to get there. We were only at the jurisdiction level, and that's fine. If you say we have no jurisdiction, personal and subject, fine. That's where we are, and that's where we'll stay. You said it was already done somewhere else, and this is res judicata, whatever. So why would you entertain any orders that led to somebody's property? You overplayed your hand. That was dumb. Because you're showing that somebody has some authority and power. And this Linda Eon, sure enough, she had no authority for nothing in family court in 2025. She had no authority for nothing. She had no sense enough to swear somebody in. And said she had jurisdiction for a day. I mean, I don't know whether retarded is the right word, but it's just absurd. At the end of the day, this is the kind of stuff we're dealing with, and this is where we are. So I am making it very plain that this is not going to be something that we're going to deal with in the future. This law, the laws that allow some of this to happen, is going to get changed. If it was a law, in this case, it wasn't. And all the things that people did, and they think they're going to get away with it, like I said, thankfully, it wasn't just us. There was other people involved and other people who are victims outside of this. So thankfully, the truth is going to prevail anyway, but it's really going to prevail because it hurts, it helps, it hit other people. It did. And the enemy, the devil, the person, the advocate, the defendant, overplayed the hand. When you went across to touch somebody's property, you went too far. But thankfully, you did it because now it helps. It does. So yeah, that's it, everybody. I am good. They said, that's it. That's all. We out of here, y'all. So at the end of the day, Lottie Dottie and everybody who have done wrong with the law, who've spoken lies, who've taken money, briberies, or whatever they've taken, lied, like this one attorney in North Jersey, Tim McLaughlin. I mean, they used him as a guinea pig in 2025. They made a fool of him. They got out of the picture and let him go do the dirty work in 2025 for supposedly when Mr. Carter, while I was in California, he goes back to New Jersey trying to use my back channel of my orders for my godson. And when he was a minor, to come through to say what he wasn't enforcing nothing because there's nothing to enforce. The only thing you can enforce is no jurisdiction. Wake up. But at the end of the day, you go back there with an attorney that I guess he's an attorney who do not know what he's doing. He's just listening and doing what they tell him to do. And they go through a back channel, or try to. And supposedly, according to the staff, they said that the client, Mr. Carter, was trying to he was trying to volunteer to be the parent. That's what they told me. I don't know if it's true. So at the end of the day, and the attorney was probably a part of it, obviously, but it failed. But then he goes and tries to use a channel, and he don't even know what the orders are. They used him because even the people at the top were saying, "Well, how did he get?" I said, "He just wanted to be paid, I guess, because it didn't make any sense to take a job when there was no jurisdiction." But he took it anyway. And the other ones ain't been found since. The other attorneys ain't been around. The other attorneys that were involved with that same situation, they ghosted. They left. And I already said that I went to the bankruptcy court to sue them in the adversary, those attorneys, and the title company. And that information is on appeal. They were trying, but they said the court was trying to block me from being a Chapter 13, and I had a right to do it because I was supposed to be not telling the truth. About what? I told everything I needed to tell. It's all out there. But oh yeah, it's not made for Black people. It's just not. It's made for somebody else. But we all paying taxes and we're all paying the fees to get into court. But you treat it so differently when you get in there. So yeah, I'm pretty much done, y'all. That's all I have to say. I answered the 3 questions that somebody sent me about anti-SLAPP bankruptcy law, and that we don't owe no money, and that the false statements and all that. No, there's been no adjudication of no case in New Jersey in the family court. There was never no adjudication. It just was a joke going in, it's a joke going out. And nobody's going to get anything. I can promise you that. So there's some stuff that's coming. There's some things that are happening. And just be prayerful about our country and our Constitution and what's right. And as I said, the reason why I'm going through this and this went for so long is the color of my skin. There ain't no way in this world that I should be going through something when you know there's no jurisdiction with the court. Now, we know about there's other things that the court can do and not do. We never applied to that. I never did any violation of any court order because there isn't any, except for the seal order. And that does not mean a gag. A seal order means the clerk told the public that they can't come to the court. The clerk, it was geared to the clerk, period. There was never gags that you can't do, never. Because the attorneys from day one, in the very beginning, had already exchanged the files in 2 different jurisdictions. What are you talking about? You're late and wrong. You can't be a little pregnant. You can't put toothpaste back in the tube. So they never tried to do that because they knew it was in 2 places. It was a lie going in, it's a lie going out. And then the injunction, like Judge Silverman Katz did. She retired because they pushed her out too. She was the one that might have taken some money, they said. She was her, Judge Dortch, and some other judges that they said took money. That's what they were telling me. I know who asked me for money in family court. I know who asked me because I heard it and it's on record. And then Judge Silverman Katz, she was the one who did the injunction back then on her own, out of nowhere, for no reason, just did it. And did it and thought it was going to apply to the family court. A civil law case docket applying to the family case. Really? Why didn't you just do the family? She didn't want to do the family because she knew she had to reopen it. She couldn't get around that. You had to reopen the case. She was scared. She was scared, y'all. But yeah, so God is good. And no matter what happens, we are going to make it. So I just want to let you guys know, you can be encouraged that you're not going to be You're not going to be left out. Just stick with your case. There's a young lady, another Black girl, she's a judge. They fired her because she was telling she would not do the wrong thing. So there's some stuff coming up with her that she'll be able to explain to the public as well about some of the things that's going on. And ironically, she knows some stuff, right? If you go on Facebook, she's there. I can get her name. I think I can get her name. I'll put that inside the chat too. But yeah. All right, everybody. I think we did good today and just trying to talk and converse and be together. Be encouraged. Don't let the system discourage you. Don't let it break you, and don't let it take you down. If you are a child of the God, and I hope you are, but you may not be, it's a privilege to be a child of the King because we have a legal standing in the courts of heaven. You can go to the courts of heaven every night at midnight and talk to God. Present your case to God with the evidence and decree and declare that the verdict is sealed with the truth because God loves justice. You're not going to have bribery in heaven. You ain't going to have lying in heaven. You ain't going to have switching of names in heaven. You're not going to have lies and obstruction of justice in heaven. And we had all that with our case. At the end of the day, God sees everything. And he too wise to make a mistake. Wait till certain people get fully in the hands of God. They're going to be in some trouble, y'all. So you just make sure you're doing what you need to do. But at the end of the day, you talk to God at midnight when the courts of heavens is open. It's open all day, probably. But it's something about the midnight, y'all. Look in the scriptures. And you stand, get your standing, because you have standing in the kingdom of God, in the courts of heavens, because you are a child of the King, because of the blood of Jesus that was shed in Calvary. You have it. And then you present your evidence to God. Show God. You ain't got to tell him everything. Just tell him what you need to know. What happened to you? The evidence and the lies, the things, the justice that you're looking for. And then seal that with a verdict and say, God, by the declaration through the authority of Jesus Christ, I declare this verdict closed in my favor. The verdict is closed in my favor, and the enemy is destroyed in the name of Jesus. And just watch God as you look into this more. Don't just do it one time, but talk to God about it. He'll give you wisdom. And then after that, you can thank him that the verdict in heaven, which is a just verdict, will be also on the earth. What's loosed in heaven will be loosed in the earth. What's bound in heaven will be bound in the earth. These are facts, everybody. And I ain't worrying about nothing. I ain't going to worry about nothing. I'm trusting the same God that I've been knowing all my life. And he started this whole project, and guess what? He's going to finish it. And it's going to be done in the favor of God, that he will be glorified, magnified, and the enemy will be terrified. Oh, yeah, he's going to be terrified because he's coming. God is coming for you in the name of Jesus. So I'm going to seal it with that, everybody. I'm going to seal it with that because I think that's a good way or a good place to stop. If you have any other questions or comments, feel free to contact me, reach out, and all that good stuff. I am happy to talk about it. Hey, everybody, this is Dr. Lillie M. Coley, and this is Keeping It Real with Dr. Lil. I'm thankful and grateful for all of you, and I know that God is going to continue to use us individually and collectively in our respective lives to impact our community. We have beautiful community projects coming. And the projects are to empower our young people and our kids. The main thing is human trafficking and sex trafficking prevention, getting our young people aware of what to look for and what not to do. And be careful understanding that you do something, especially nowadays, and how adults are having sex with children as young as 5 and 2 and 7 years old, and that they have to be careful about their children and their families and extended families. Facts, everybody. We want to get in and touch our kids and community. I'm not discouraged. I love my color of my skin. I love the color of my eyes. And I love blonde hair and blue eyes. I love brown eyes. I love black eyes. I love it all. But I know that I am going through some things because of the color of my skin and who I am. I know it. There ain't no way a case like this, when it's so obvious, will go on this long. Only because it's corruption. And for me, it's corruption. I call it a fraud corruption case. That's what I call it. Baby daddy stuff, attorney stuff, that train been left. Where you been? That train's been left, right? And Ramir's case was also corruption too. Ramir didn't have a family court case. He had a civil law case separate from this L4749-14. He had an inheritance case where he could have got family members and other people to do the paternity DNA testing. And they did the same playbook with him they did with me. They did the same thing they did with me, the same thing with him, with no jurisdiction drop. They got the same orders. Okay, fine. So why are you writing orders in afterwards? What order was violated? Because what you're saying is a lie. And that in itself is a problem. To lie about something that somebody did not do, you better prove it. You better find some proof. And you know you don't. There's none there. Right? So you could try to manufacture and make it up. It ain't there, boo. It ain't there. So you and I know what's really going on here. And that's just the way it is. So I am going to clock out. I thank God for all of you that's watching. If you don't have any questions, we're just going to move on. And I did answer the 4 questions. I'm going to try to come on as much as possible, everybody. And I just thank God for all of you. All right. So be encouraged as we walk together the way we're going to walk together, hand in hand in the community, trying to do our community projects and our legal situations so that we can make this world a better place. I'm going to listen to what my mama said, and I'll leave y'all with that. She said, the law is designed to work. Just follow it. She said, that's why people are trying to break it and bend it. She says, but you, and you, pointing to her children. She said, follow it. That stuff never left my life. I heard that from my mama. I was 9 years old. I never forgot it. So I'm telling you all, for the law is designed to work, and know that God's going to be with you because God loves justice. And he ain't going to have you out there in no whole bunch of foolishness and sure enough, no lies. That's not how he works. He got some class. He's gone, he's got a lot going on for him. The Lord is good, and he's so worthy to be praised. Love you all. God bless you. This is Dr. Lillie Coley signing out, everybody.